I was going to leave it alone. I was not going to waste my time, or more importantly, your time, talking about Monica McDougall from ESPN. Because to be perfectly honest with you, no one cares about Monica McDougall. I didn't want to give her free publicity to what I believe is an obvious publicity stunt. I didn't want to give credence to Monica's unquenchable desire to be noticed. I have seen this movie before. We know exactly how it ends. Monica McDougall says something incendiary about Caitlin Clark. She tries to tie mythical racism into this cultural phenomenon. For 24 maybe 36 hours, Monica is dominating the headlines throughout the mainstream media. Then by the time the weekend gets here, Monica has returned to such a heightened state of anonymity, she is denied entry to the McDougall family reunion. I was going to leave it alone, but then someone sent me this celebratory tweet yesterday from the WNBA, and I just couldn't let it slide. When you're a content creator, or in the case of the WNBA, when you're a dump disguised as a pretend basketball league, one of the most critical aspects, and sometimes one of the most difficult aspects, is knowing your audience. You have got to know what your audience wants. You have to know what they expect. And then you gotta deliver. For example, I detest watching the Yentas on The View. Over the last 5 years, the only time I have worn a mask is while watching The View to protect myself from the boodle breeze and the toxic mouth farts. And this is no ordinary gas mask. I had to buy the Febreze Ultra 100, which is capable of protecting you against boodle breeze at speeds up to 100 miles an hour. Well, Casey, what happens if the whoopee cushion unleashes Category 5 toxic wind? Unfortunately, scientists at the EPA, they have been unable to develop safety equipment to combat boodle breeze that powerful. But anyway, I don't like watching the Yentas on The View, but there are times when I watch the show because I know you guys enjoy hearing me talk about it. It's the same thing with CNN, MSNBC, which we will be talking about later today. There are nights when I don't feel like watching the news, but I have to stay updated because you guys like when I talk about it. Things I enjoy watching like the Saints, the NBA, the PGA, I don't talk about those as often, or in the case of the PGA, I don't talk about it ever because I know you guys could care less. The content produced on this channel, it is content that is specifically made for you. And look, I don't mind doing it. If you're going to give me your time, the least I can do is value your time by being prepared. That is the way it's supposed to work. You're supposed to create content that is appealing to your specific audience. But for some reason, the WNBA just can't seem to understand this simple concept. For some reason, the WNBA seems to have no idea who their primary audience is. They're either unfamiliar with their audience or the WNBA is at war with their audience. Either way, it is a luxury that the WNBA cannot afford. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Link to the second channel is in the description below. This morning on the second channel, talked about Shannon Sharpe. Hey, it's me, Shay Shay. We talked about male Shay and ESPN misrepresenting and overreacting to Kim Mulkey. It is another example of how incompetent or just outright dishonest the mainstream media is. With Shannon Sharpe, I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. He's running a small operation. This was probably an oversight on his part. But with ESPN and the rest of the media, there really is no excuse. So if you haven't already, click the link in the description below, subscribe to the second channel. Were you guys invited to the celebration yesterday? Yesterday was a monumental day in the WNBA dump. The rainbow flags were flapping through the winds of the Boodle Breeze. Bob Greiner was serving the supersized cucumber. Doctors from Woke Memorial Hospital, they were on site, ready to apply Preparation H to those who overindulge and ended up with a bruised caboose. My inside sources are telling me that the NBA provided an unlimited budget for the celebration of inclusivity. Everyone was invited. The L's, the G's, the B, the T. Questioning Quentin was there. The IA identifiers, they were in attendance. And the plus identifiers, they were given the VIP treatment. Well, Uncle KC, what about the @ sign? Was the @ sign there? Damn right. The @ sign was there to give directions. The WNBA, in their infinite wisdom, they decided to set aside the day yesterday to celebrate something called Trans Day of Visibility. Check it out for yourself. Today and every day on March 31st, we honor our transgender brothers who are becoming our sisters. We celebrate the courage that it took for they to identify as them. For starters, don't we have an entire month of visibility for the LGBT community? Correct me if I'm wrong here, but isn't Woke Christmas just 2 months away? Me personally, I started my Christmas shopping early this year. I bought my oldest nephew she, her pronouns along with a nice necklace that says Queen. But KC, Woke Christmas celebrates the entire LGBT community. We set aside March 31st to celebrate and honor those who were courageous enough to transition. Okay, I guess I can understand that. I mean, the WNBA is the League of Inclusion. We want everyone to feel included, but I do have a couple of questions. Number one, when is @ sign Day of Visibility? I don't know about you guys, but I'm interested in buying tickets to that celebration. In my 40 years, I have never met an @ sign before. The only @ sign I'm familiar with is the one in my email address. And number two, and I'm looking at this purely from a business perspective. If the WNBA is celebrating inclusivity, how come they are promoting an event that excludes damn near 100% of their audience? Which leads me to question 3. If the WNBA is truly inclusive, how come the media continues to do everything in their power to exclude Caitlin Clark? How come the media continues to diminish the only star in the dump? How come everyone seems to be included in the WNBA except Caitlin Clark? And from a media perspective, how come everyone seems to be included except Caitlin Clark fans, which happens to mainly consist of white people? Ironically enough, those same white people, they also consist of most of the WNBA fan base, which is a fan base that did not exist before Caitlin Clark. Before the arrival of the Great White Hope, there was no such thing as WNBA fans. Sunday, Monica McDougall from ESPN was interviewed by the BBC. Well, Casey, why in the hell is the BBC interviewing Monica McDougall? I have no idea. I guess they have absolutely no interest in drawing an audience. The thing is, I actually like Monica McDougall on Carmelo Anthony's podcast when she is surrounded by dudes who used to play in the NBA and she's talking about the NBA. Monica ain't that bad. I wouldn't go as far as ESPN and claim that Monica McDougall is an NBA analyst. Obviously, Monica never played in the NBA. Hell, Monica wasn't even good enough to play in the WNBA. Who knows? Maybe that's why Monica seems to be jealous of Caitlin Clark. Or maybe, just maybe, Monica McDougall says things like this to bring attention to herself. Sunday morning, she was talking to some unknown lady from the BBC. 2 unknown women talking about a league filled with unknown players. Captivating television. The lady from the BBC, She seems to be asking Monica McDougall how the WNBA can maintain their momentum from last season. She was asking how the WNBA could be commercially viable long term. There's an easy answer to that question. More than likely, they can't. The NBA has been trying to monetize this dump for the last 30 years. The networks, along with colleges and universities, they have been trying to monetize women's basketball for decades. No one has been able to figure it out. Even with the assistance of math expert Mina Kimes, they can't solve the formula. However, Monica McDougall has cracked the code. Monica has figured out a way to make the WNBA relevant and profitable long term. Watch for yourself.
I think it has to show up in our storytelling, and it has to be encouraged by our families. The one thing that I cannot deny is the amount of little girls that were showing up to follow her. Little girls with their parents, and the fervor and the energy there.
Why her?
Same thing.
Why her?
Well, I was just about to say same thing for Angel Reese when I had a chance to cover their games. But I think Caitlin represented, and again, some of this to me probably is not fair to her because it was not anything that she said or was truly based on her personality, but she was a white girl from the middle of America. And so she represented a whole lot to a lot of people.
How can you be so wrong so many times in the span of 60 seconds? For starters, little girls are not the answer to the WNBA's financial problems. Why? Because little girls don't have money. Not to mention the fact that Monica McDougall just offended their parents by claiming their daughters only like Caitlin Clark because she lacks melanin. Then she tries to compare Caitlin Clark to Angel Reese by insinuating that their fan bases are equivalent. Where are these Angel Reese fans? Where in the hell are they? When I see Chicago Bravado games on TV, the only things I see are missed layups and empty seats. There is one way, and one way only, for the WNBA to achieve the impossible and generate a single peso in profit. Caitlin Clark. And they're off to a bad start because even with the assistance of Caitlin Clark last year, the dump lost $50 million. To make matters worse, the media seems to be continuing their crusade to turn Caitlin Clark's fan base into the enemy. And what business does it make sense to criticize the customer? I mean, look at what just happened in Unrivaled. Look at what happened in the second round of the women's tournament. Juju Watkins goes down with a devastating injury that might keep her out next season. God forbid the same thing happened to Caitlin Clark. USC will survive. The women's tournament in college basketball, it will survive. If the same thing happens to Caitlin Clark, the WNBA will not survive. You have one chance. You have one young woman carrying the entire league. And Monica McDougall and her pretend friends in the media, they are doing everything they can to piss off her fan base. Doesn't make sense to me, but what the hell do I know? I actually make money. I have no idea how to continue losing it. Give me your thoughts on this. The WNBA continues to alienate their fan base with a nice assist from their pretend friends in the mainstream media. Why? Why do they keep doing this? Why does this league continue to make themselves unappealing to the masses? Someone please make it make sense. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys later.